Welcome everybody to Iconical. It has been a while since I've had an episode up and running, but today we are back. We have some information, and please do go to iconicalwear.com and go get some awesome apparel. I'm actually going to change something. This is what happens when you don't go on for a while, so we're going to change the edit name. But you guys already know I do have Top Dog coverage. If you guys want some information about football, so go to Top Dog coverage on YouTube as well. So it's been a while. We have been actively seeking out different people for the podcast and such, which has been an absolute treasure trying to hunt down people, which is harder than you expect because you will always want to weed out. And I've also told everybody about quality and not quantity. So everything is always about quality of people and not the abundance of. So we have been working steadily to get those kind of interviews in. We will be having a 40% off sale sometime soon within February into March, possibly, for all Iconical apparel. So guys, be prepared for that. If you guys have not, subscribe to Everything Iconical Show on Instagram, Iconical Wear on Instagram, TikTok. Do I have Facebook? No, we don't have Facebook. But also go to Spotify, Apple, Ghana, Deezer, and sign up for the podcast. But today we have an awesome young woman coming on, Jennifer Gonzalez. So Jennifer is the founder of Jennuine Wellness, and her path into holistic and integrative health has been built over more than a decade of hands-on medical experience, personal healing, and relentless self-education. So she began working in the medical field in 2012, gaining experience across multiple specialties that deeply influence how she served clients and how she serves clients today. So over the years, she's worked in veterinary medicine, neurosurgery, neurology, and I always have a problem with this one. Gastroenterology, I think that's how you say it, pain management, and stem cell based procedures, and as a plastic surgeon technician, where she assisted in treatments addressing inflammation, skin care, skin health, and lymphatic function, and post-operative recovery. So her knowledge isn't just professional, it's lived. In 2017, after the sudden loss of her fiancé, she developed severe Bell's palsy that left half of her face paralyzed. She refused to accept that there was nothing else that they could do. Through months of research, trial, and blend of holistic therapy, neuromuscular work, and root cause focused protocols, she fully resolved her facial paralysis. At the same that same determination guided her for years later when she navigated Lyme disease despite never having a tick bite. So a lot of people do think it comes mainly from ticks, but we will get into that as well. So again, through deep research, intention, detoxification, and alternative care, she restored her health without traditional long-term medications that made her sicker. So now through mobile care, a safe and grounding in, concierge mobile care, a safe and grounding in-studio space, a virtual consults, she supports clients with the same level of commitment, curiosity, and intention that gave her to her own healing. So whether through lymphatic sculpting, healing, detox guidance, fresh juices, vitamin injection support, or hydration education, her goal is simple: to give people the kind of care, knowledge, and transformation she once had to fight for herself. So without further ado, we are going to bring on Jenn Gonzalez. Jenn, how are you?
Hello. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm well. It's great to have you on. I appreciate your time. I know it is time is one thing we don't get back, so I appreciate your time. You're over on the West Coast on that side, right?
Yes. San Diego. Yes, I'm in San Diego.
Ooh, how is San Diego?
Very sunny. Well, currently not sunny, but it was beautiful today. Clear skies, chill, 70-ish.
Oh, tomorrow's going to be a high of a balmy 16 tomorrow. So here in New
I
York.
feel horrible. You're watching the news on the snow. I'm like, what is snow? I haven't seen it since Seattle in years.
Oof. Oh, you used to be in Seattle?
Yeah, I grew up in Seattle for a long time too.
Mm. What is it like up there?
Very casual, and everybody can wear sweats, nappy bun, moccasins, and just chill.
So sort of like the dream life, like everybody likes that, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I call myself the Adam Sandler, so I'm like very comfy vibes. I've been like that forever.
Adam Sandler is the man. He wears whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and nobody ridicules him.
Whenever. And he rocks it. He just
He
loves
does.
himself that much because he knows it's
He
him.
does. He does, and he's part of the Jewish community. It's just like, A, I'm not going to spend money, and B, like I'm just going to rock out with whatever. I'm not going to the gym, but I'll go wear gym shorts.
Exactly.
You know. So, all right, cool. So did you start? What was your childhood starting up in Seattle? Is that where everything kind of started?
A little bit back and forth. I was actually born in El Centro, California, which is middle of nowhere. So and I was in San Diego for about 5 years, and then from 5 to about 16 years old was in Seattle, back and forth.
This is a good decade.
Yeah, so it's been fun. And then I was back and forth between Seattle and Southern California, El Centro, for about 3 high schools because my parents did real estate before and after the crash. So not a military brat, but a real estate.
2008 crash, right?
Yep.
Ooh, have you ever seen the movie The Big Short?
Yes.
That's a wild but true movie.
It is very intense, especially because it ultimately decided where I graduated high school at in the town I was going to be graduating from. So it was either stay with the family that I had or friends I had since 13, 14 and plus years, or with the ones I just met a couple years ago.
So you had a diverse group of friends in different areas.
Definitely. Yeah. And so I think that attributes to a lot of my social butterflyness and confidence because I don't think I ever wanted to be, the isolated person. I think I wanted to just delve in and adapt to my environments because at the time they were constantly changing and I never really knew where I was going to be, how long I'd be at the school for, so just making the best of the moments. The areas I was in from 123-degree summers in El Centro to, that freezing temperatures in Seattle. So it was very literal night and day with people as well.
That's all dry heat too, right?
It's humid, so humid. You walk from your front door to your car front door, and it's like girls' makeup's invisible. Glowy skin though from all the sweating you do.
I bet there is. Well,
As you can tell.
Yeah. I've heard, what is it? Is it Death Valley? That Death Valley is one of those places that if you're not paying attention, you can get dehydrated very, very quickly because it almost just it barely pours off. It just disintegrates as it comes out.
Literally. And then you kind of get like that delulu, like, oh, what? Okay. And then you get like the tongue stuck to the roof of your mouth, the side of your cheek. You're like, and you're like, oh, it's been like 8 hours since I've had any water. I didn't realize.
Yeah. And you're just like, well, I wasn't sweating, right? Like,
yeah, you're in the AC, so you're not going to sweat if you're in the AC either. Or you're still pretty hot. It's still 80 degrees in the AC out there.
So what is so you come from Seattle, you're kind of moving around a little bit. What's the move after high school? So you meet a couple different, go to a couple different schools, right? And you have a couple different friends. What's the move look like after that?
After El Centro was where I graduated, and I moved to San Diego, which is the closest big city in SoCal for me to El Centro. And I just wanted to branch out. I've always been hyper independent. I'm the oldest of 4 siblings. So, and my parents had me relatively young. So it was a lot of growing up together versus, prior experience, like most parents these days, but a little bit more on the younger side. And so it was a growing experience for all of us. And honestly, just after San Diego, just kind of taking off in the medical field. My first medical experience was as a veterinary technician assistant. And I've always, since I was a kid, been passionate about helping others. Snow White and Princess Jasmine were like my go-to Disney princesses, which are heavily animal influenced, and it's just like, that's just how I've always been. So naturally, as I got older, and I always knew I wanted to be in medicine, some way, shape, or form, helping people and their bodies in some way, shape, or form. And but I also loved animals. So that was my first delve into veterinary, and it's just expanded in multitude of specialties since there. I
Can
love
you
the body.
remember? Can you remember like the one of the first like animals that you helped that you're just like I don't know that hit you hard? Either you helped it and maybe the animal did live, or you lost the animal and it like made a huge effect on your life in a positive or a negative way.
So for me, it was actually one of the I grew up with golden retrievers,
Mm,
and so those ones are personally like really tough for me to help with in any instances. However, there was a golden retriever, and thankfully it was serious to the point that if we didn't able to get the surgery out, it swallowed a stick the wrong way, unfortunately. And so we had to do surgery on the animal, but also because of the age and labs, we weren't too sure if they were going to survive the anesthesia either.
yeah.
So, and it hit me hard because it was a humbling moment because it regrounds you. It's not just a job. You're not just there for the animal, for the experience. You're there for the family. And you have to be sure that you're really considerate and empathetic of the other people surrounding that are also experiencing this moment because it's an uncertainty and nobody knows it can go good or bad.
Mm.
And it just kind of brought me back to my moment and being around the people and kind of how just loving and welcoming they were because not everybody's like that. Some people, it's just a hey, nay, let me step out, give you your piece, and I'll be back when you're done doing your thing.
Mm.
And I wanted to not be that. And I wanted to let them know that they were heard and that they were seen and valued and that I was going to take care of them as it was my dog, which is how I take care of all my patients as if they're my family or my friends or relatives. So that was a pretty big one. Thankfully, dog survived,
Yeah.
did great with the anesthesia. But it was just an entirely humbling moment. And it brought me back to why I have so much passion to begin with and why I want to be different as a provider.
Makes sense. Definitely makes
Yeah.
sense. So you go from veterinarian, right?
Yeah.
Is this the segue into like what makes you leave veterinarian medicine over to, or I'm guessing neurosurgery or neurology, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's
It
a
was
that's a big leap there. That's a different leap that I've heard of before.
totally not same, totally different in that aspect.
Yeah.
So, actually, one of the owners of the vet hospital that I was at in La Jolla Village at the time, um, she was bringing in new technology, which was red laser light therapy for post-operative surgeries, for surgeries, and for just healing in general. And I made sure that I wanted to go more in depth with learning. I got certified in additional laser certifications there at the hospital with her, and even just learning just the multitudes of just the red light in itself. Her husband at the time, as majority, myself included, have chronic back pain from a multitude of different diagnoses and just lifing. Um, how we were able to use that laser for her husband whenever he was having chronic back pain, how it was actually able to help his daily quality of life from time to time because he was always on his feet. He was also a physician. So it was just hearing her and just the different ways of we don't have to be invasive to have pain relief. We don't have to be really just here's some meds for that, here's a patch for this, and on your way you go. Back then, gosh, that was like 2011-ish or so was the vet stuff,
Mhm.
was when the lasers were coming out. And so I just, from there, took a very heavy interest to it. I was going into school at the time. So at the time, I was just needing a different environment, period, because of that schedule. And I was like, neuro. I love the back, the spine. We are on our feet 70% of our life. The other 30%, we are in bed, hopefully,
Mhm.
So for literally from top to the base, it's pretty vital in the structure and the foundation of it. So I'm like, why not start in a foundational part of the body that I could really anchor in on? Because the spine, the neuro affects everything everywhere, whether it's your brain, your inflammation, your insides, nerves, you name it, it's going to affect it. So I really wanted to hunker it down and kind of get a really big understanding of what neurology and neurosurgery meant. And I was blessed to work with, he is to this day one of the best neurosurgeons in the world. So, and a great teacher, and just I learned a lot from him and the team in general. So,
I
yeah.
wanna backtrack to red light therapy. I think because it's been around for a little bit, but at the same time, I mean, still there's a gap between talking about it as a fad and understanding
Mm.
what it actually does. And I was wondering if we could have a discussion of what red light therapy is for people that really don't understand it too well.
Yeah, no, and I love that. So for me, even most recently, I work for a stem cell clinic here in California. They are nationwide, but they do target red light laser therapy. And the best way I would explain to my patients who are completely new coming into like, what the hell is red light therapy? Like, what is this red little flashlight going to do for me? And why is it such a pricey treatment versus, XYZ? Well, the cause of the red light therapy and the treatment is that it uses the specific wavelengths, the red wavelengths and the infrared. And what that does is it helps with decreasing your inflammation. So, for example, in stem cells, carpal tunnel, for example, many of us have carpal tunnel. We get inflamed joints, and unlike cortisone, where you can just kind of put it in the general area of where you have pain, your stem cells need to go in a specific area. Well, if you're already congested and have a lot of inflammation, fluid buildup, bone on bone, it's going to be really hard to get that medicine to stay where it needs to stay and take effect to where it needs the help. So the red light therapy, what it does is it preps the area for you. And you can prep your area because you're going to help, first of all, heat up the area. So when you're heating the area, you're actually influencing cellular energy. You're helping your cells be receptive of treatments that are coming to your body. It's not going to be as foreign. You're slowly lubing the gears, kind of an ordeal. So it's not just straight taking your brakes off. There's a process to it. So that's that one process to it. Once you do the infrared light, it helps with the inflammation, like I said. It helps with the cellular energy, the circulation, and the nerve signaling. That's important because if you have a bunch of inflammation, your nerves are constantly firing, your nerves are constantly hyping up. There's no rest time. So if there's no rest time, you don't get heal time. If you don't get heal time, what's the point of you spending X amount of money on a treatment if your body's probably just going to reject it? So the red light is just that opening invitation of what I can do to help you. It's okay for you to take this treatment in this area. Let me help you. It's literally telling your body this is safe, this is warm, this is healing, it's mitochondria on a scientific level, but it just helps your cells wake up because your cells are stagnant. There's no place to move. Whether you have no cartilage anymore, whether it's bone on bone, your cells are pretty stagnant. So the red light just helps wake them up.
So because I've had my first red light therapy, right? I went, was it last year? I started to go and get actually scalp massages, right?
Yeah.
Me having no hair, it's a lot easier for them. So
great for hair growth too.
Huh? I
great
guess,
for hair growth too.
Is it? This ain't coming back.
That's different. That's different, but yeah.
Yeah. So I will say though that she said, "Hey, if you want to try it out, you've come more than enough times. If you want, we'll give you 30 minutes of red light therapy." So I was like, "Okay." So I went in there and I didn't really understand what it was. I kind of asked her. She was kind of vague about it. She was younger though, so she didn't really understand. She was just kind of like the girl at work there that's in high school, right? No big deal. So by understanding what you're saying though, does that mean that there should be another step after you actually approach this red light therapy, almost like hey, it's opening up the cells, getting ready for, I would say, whatever quote unquote medication of some sort or medicine that's about to come in? Should there be a process of medicine that's going in after a red light therapy session?
Depending on what you're trying to treat. So like for me, for example, for red light, where we were doing it and how my initial entrance was at we used it, we had to have surgery. And
Mhm.
we would use the red light therapy for anywhere, depending on, of course, size, area, XYZ, location, the longevity of the red light therapy. And what it would do is it helps the nerve regenerate and repair. And it also helps with the neuropathic pain, it calms the mind, and it calms it at the site. So you can do that obviously as like a one and done treatment, or for post-operative care, 4 to 6 weeks, because the majority of our patients, my animals,
Mhm.
had a much less healing time and less infection rate, because we know animals are stubborn and they're not going to let that incision just sit there, depending on the kind of animal you have. So as owners, we want to prevent adding more money to what we just spent on and increasing the infection and all that. So that was that aspect. When I was working in stem cells, like I said, we wanted to do that specifically for somebody who has, arthritis in the right hip, and we're going to do a series over a course of 6 months. We're going to do that red light therapy every single time you come in beforehand, not just one and done before the entire series, because we want to get that entryway to your joint space specifically every single time to make sure you get the maximum benefit of what you're paying for. And you want to make sure that you have the most coverage of the space. The warmer the site, and in the specific joint space within the knee, with how
Mhm.
much PRP you get put in, or plasma, the more chances your body is going to accept it, receive it, and actually utilize it to get better. Yeah. And then for me, with what I do in my business with radio frequency, people don't like Botox and needles. I mean, and it becomes expensive sometimes when you want to do it. And there's a lot of people waking up to different reasons why we shouldn't inject things.
Mhm.
So for me, radio frequency, it helps increase the collagen, reduces the skin cellulite, your wrinkles, tightening, and that can be done once and you'll have results in 3 days, or you can do it as a treatment. It honestly varies, because there's so many benefits to red light that you really can't just stick it in a box, because it really has such a broad spectrum of healing that if you have a problem, you know, more than likely, unless you have cancer, and even then, the specific targeted red lights that they use for cancers, like gamma rays, to help.
Mm.
Power of the wavelength, it's the power of the frequency. So that's a large modality in the range it has to heal people and what they're feeling.
Okay. So
Non-invasive,
you,
not invasively too. Not invasively. We're not injecting radio frequency light into you.
which is good. I got a tower. I just got put up last year. Not happy about it. Let me tell you. Um, really more difficult to sleep than it's ever been.
I bet.
Actually,
I bet.
actually, but I do have one of these bad boys on my phone. So,
Yes, and like the plugins, I'm actually going to get some, and that's another reason why I told you about cleansing and detoxing. Because when you
mhm.
have those towers, you have more heavy metals built up. Towers go on, different wavelengths go off, insomnia, dreams, restlessness, restless leg syndrome, all that stuff.
So you want to do a shameless plug right now?
Sure.
Go ahead. You could do the shameless plug on detox and the Groupon code if you want to, or the coupon code if you want to.
Oh, I don't
It's
know how
up
to
to
do that.
you.
Yeah, I could probably do that in there. Put it
Yeah.
in like the chat stuff. Okay.
No, you don't have to put it in the chat. So you can always put it on here whenever you want. So, or I can put
Okay.
it in the description. That's cool too.
Okay. Yeah, because I
Um,
think you have it.
yeah, I got you. So, so basically with this red light, it's basically you set it up and then you would putting in stem cells, right? That's kind of like the layer beforehand. I don't want to say the layer, but that's the pre, and then all of a sudden it's setting it up for the you do inject the stem cells into whatever project. I don't want to say project, but whatever it is that you're doing, the injection.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you go over a little bit of what stem cells are and where they can possibly come from? Now, I've heard a couple different things. I don't know what's true and what's not, but I've heard different things from umbilical cords, teeth, or different bones. I'm not really too sure about that, but those are where they can be stored and saved so that you can have your same kind of like DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
that's as far as I know. Okay, so
I'm like, so what do you know? So I can see.
yeah.
So when I worked in stem cells, the stem cells that I worked in, and stem cells do, like you say, come from a large scale of where they can be collected from. The stem cells that we used at the clinic I was at was from your body. Your own body comes from your pelvic bone. We would do the procedure in office. Everything was ultrasound guided and a sterile procedure. And then I also would then take your stem cells and then I would do its process with basically spinning it down, having all of the centrifuges and putting that back into your body. What the stem cells is it's meant, it's based on how potent it is with the information, it's medicine back for your body at that specific site. Since it's your own body, your own material, chances are 90% plus, if not 100, that your body is going to be receptive of it, take it, and use it for what we are intending it for. Heal you, help your pain relief, help give your body a chance to rebuild some of the cartilage or reduce pain, XYZ. Those are the ones that I personally have my experience with. However, there's definitely stem cells that people can use from embryonic stem cells. There's also some like from the stem cell core, from the placenta, from fetuses that were aborted early on, that you can also get them from. They have also made synthetic, but you can also do adult somatic cells. There's a variety, honestly, and with the world that we live in, a lot of things are more synthetic based, and a lot of them are coming from the cords as well. I've even heard from patients that I've had. I've never personally really delved into it, but I've had patients tell me that they've been down, across borders, and that they're using animal stem cells for procedures like shark stem cells. Obviously, the concern with that is first of all, it's not of human, so it's not the same anywhere similar DNA format. So you don't know if you might grow a tooth or a hair or some kind of mass in the area that you're injecting stem cells in versus what you're trying to actually grow there. Because it's not
a
message for your body. It's not a message for your body. It's a message for something else, and how your body is going to interpret it and take it, we don't know. So unless I'm going to be Shark Boy, I would definitely never recommend putting any kind of animal stem cells. I personally wouldn't, but if there's something out there for everybody.
Could you imagine just like all of a sudden you swim like a fucking pro? And like
Michael Phelps, watch out.
Yeah, right? Like you want to go to the beach? Yes, suddenly I really like the beach and I don't know why. And you have this fucking fin just sticking out.
Slowly popping out. Like, we're like, what do you have there? Stem cell injection for my back. Are you sure? Looks like a part fin. Like
dolphins start like attacking you and shit. Like
you slowly have like the noise, your echo connection.
Yes. All of a sudden it'd be like, dude, have you seen what he can do in the water? Wild stuff, man. Wild.
He's Merman Part 2.0.
Exactly. Yeah. That's I didn't know that they were doing
They are real.
Yeah. Remember they had that show, right? Didn't they have that show? Like Merman?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Disney Channel.
Was it the Disney Channel?
Yeah, they had some Disney Channel Merman stuff.
Of course it would be. So, okay. So going through stem cell, and the one thing I heard from stem cells too was what was it, when I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast, Mel Gibson's father went into stem cells. He was like at the time like 87 or something like that, and it worked like nobody's business. And but I believe he had to go down to Panama for it at the time. I believe that was one of the places. So. But,
and there's also not only just the stem cell aspect of it too, but I honestly forget his name, but him and his son spend like so much money being, prolonging their lives. But even beforehand, like utilizing plasma, your own plasma, or like plasma in general, PRP in an IV to help revitalize your blood on a cellular level and stuff like that. That's actually pretty good too. It's just obviously not common, and it's expensive because of the many steps and machines it requires, but it's definitely regenerative. Vampire facial is that PRP facial, so put it on your face.
That's great.
Dracula's favorite.
Dracula. I wonder what they could do nowadays, like with some of the craziest things that have happened with people with deformations, or you know what I mean. Like I do wonder what what kind of things can happen with the medicine that is available to us now?
It's wild. First of all, I just finished watching Fallout, so I'm like, okay, the surface is an experiment. Like, it's just there's so much that we can do. And back in the early '90s, like when I was born, and I was a few years old, my dad used to work for a delivery service, like Jet Express or whatever, like UPS back in then. And the Salk Institute here is a private institute, San Diego, and it's a experiment, very private owned. There would be hands attached to rats at the back of the dumpster when he would go do drop offs and stuff like that. And this is back in the '90s, and ears and noses, different parts. And a lot of those things didn't really come to light until like early 2000s when they were even doing that. So I can only imagine now in 2026, like the depth of medicine and science and artificial organs, or using like pigs, to recreate different organs from their cells. So the
And
possibilities are endless.
yeah, I
The
always
limit does not exist. Like Mean Girls, the limit does not exist. Endless.
there is always I always say this: anything that has been told to us,
Oh,
okay, regardless if it's right or wrong, right? Or anything that has been shown to us, I'll say that anything that's been shown to us that can work, they have already exceeded 10 times farther, right? So I believe, in my crazy mindset, people already know this, so we're good. When the first cell phone came out, and I think that was back in the first one was the 60s. The very,
I'm
very,
not sure.
very first one, I think it was like it's like a briefcase. It was, you know what I mean? It was huge.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta look it up. But I believe that came out. They probably had something back in like the 40s. Personally, my opinion.
Oh, dude, hands down. They're not going to give us the cool, shiny new toys. They're going to give us the hand-me-downs. They're not going to let us get the
Yeah.
brand new stuff to figure out what's wrong with it, unless it's something they want us to figure out what's wrong with it. Then that's when the experiment comes in.
Oh, cell phone,
I'm looking at.
1973.
Okay, I was looking at it right now. April 3rd, 1973, Motorola.
Brick-like
Yeah,
device, it says.
I actually have one of those. My dad literally is, thank God he's a hoarder, has like a box of like all of his phones.
No way.
One of them is like literally like old school, like the night at the Roxbury, just one of those old school ones.
That's a great pull. That's a great pull. It's a great movie.
Love it. It's classic.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I always wondered pretty much any kind of medicine that they have. I mean, we were talking to me and my business partner, we were talking about medicine just in sports alone, right? Everything is so advanced, everything is so another step up. And when I first heard of stem cells, I actually called somebody that I knew that had been paralyzed for I forget how long, but he was in a motorcycle accident. He's actually over on the West Coast. And I was like, yo, dude, you should probably look into this. Now, I don't know how, I doubt that he did, but he may have been just compromised from that point on. I don't know how in depth it could or could not help. But at the same time, you can always look into it. I mean, if you start getting feelings of your legs again or something like that, like who knows?
And honestly, that's a big reason why. That's why I use my story as like me and my business, and it's not just like, oh, you researched it or oh, you went to school. And it's like, no, I've lived my experience myself. Like, first of all, I know the power of the mind. Like, the power of the mind tenfold is the most powerful thing our body has. If you don't believe in your mind, we all have the capability of healing ourselves to a degree. Obviously, a broken bone, I'm not going to start my broken finger and be like, it's going to heal within reason for some things. But there's my face, like I said, for example, was paralyzed. Everything's pretty even, everything works, I wasn't supposed to get my face back more than 60%, 63%, just because of how severe the damage was with it at the imaging at the time, all of that. And so power positivity, I was like, all right, challenge accepted. I'm going to be figuring out how can I stimulate nerves, my mindset of saying this is just temporary, laughing at myself, doing acupuncture, doing stimulation, doing PRP for my face, like microneedling to wake up all of the nerves simultaneously on both sides of my face, doing a lot of tapping, like EFT tapping, doing a lot of like literally everything and anything I could think of because I refuse to be younger than 20. My cat, sorry, younger than 20, and like
It's
younger
only a matter of
20s.
time. We gave the cat 35 minutes,
Dude,
and she's
and
back.
she's like, she's back. She's a he. But like there were 35 minutes, and like she's just like, all right, give me attention now. She's like, more treats. But yeah, just the power of positivity and like just doing it, not just being, this is my diagnosis, this is what I am. No, I was
Yeah,
gonna figure it out. And that's the thing, is for some people it does help. Like for
yeah.
me, my mom also had it. She got her face back. My grandma, even in paralysis, when I worked in neurosurgery, they were supposed to be paralyzed, and he brought them back to walking. He was on Oprah many, many moons ago,
Mm.
bringing somebody back. You know, it's possible. Everything is possible.
Now that was in what, the 2017 2018 era that that had happened, right? Um,
Yeah.
is that, and was that the result of the sudden loss of your fiance?
Yes.
Can
So,
can
and
you
that
take me through that?
yeah. Yeah, no, of course. And I'm an open book about all of that stuff. I'm such a big advocate for like mental health and really learning how to sit with yourself in the darkness, because if you can't sit with yourself in the darkness and love it, then how can we expect the others around us to? And then
Mm.
I also didn't want to be bleeding darkness around people around me. After that happened, he was killed in a hit and run motorcycle accident, April 7th, 2017. And just immediately fight or flight mode. I was the one who actually found him, not physically, but I heard him at 5:03, which on the report is the actual time of his death, and I wasn't even there. My cat sensed him coming home, which was our cat, like heard him come to the door with key jingles, all of that on an energy aspect level. Um, so when he passed, my mind just completely went into fight or flight mode. And I didn't go flight yet. I fought first.
Mm.
And instead of really sitting with myself to feel the loss, I went back to work, like not even 3 weeks. And when I tell you we were by each other's side every single day for 5 years, literally everyone was like they were attached at the hip. Like there was
Mm.
no one without the other. So it was pretty shocking for me to go back. And in that time, gradually just avoiding it. I'm pretty sure I lost close to 6 months of my life where I really don't remember. I was just kind of on autoplay. Get up, go do your thing, eat, XYZ.
Mhm.
And after months of that, October is when my face literally went to in and out. By the time I came out in and out, my face was just completely done. Completely done. And
Mm.
it was just a gradual of stress build up over time, me avoiding myself, me avoiding the emotions, me grieving properly. Um, I was thankful that I didn't fall into like any addictions or vices at the time, which is another big thing of myself in my business and me staying true to the power of the mindset, and being real with yourself,
Yeah.
because I definitely could have easily fallen into many, many, many addictions in the varieties of audiences that I was in at the time. Um, you're just vulnerable in times like that. You don't even know what up is up, down is down. You're just trying to find a safety net because your rod just got pulled out from underneath you, and it's really unsettling on many, many variations. So all of that happened, and like I said, it took months for my body to really take a hit. And that's why I'm big now with my patients, clients, friends, and family. Like when your body is telling you something, you better listen. When you are just so exhausted and you're just like, I'm fine. No, you're not. Because
Mm.
I promise you, if you don't sit down and like listen, you're going to be forced to sit down and listen. And some people really can't handle that. I was stuck in the hospital for like 7 days. I couldn't leave, couldn't do anything, and some people can't handle that. Some people go crazy just in sitting with themselves, let alone in a hospital.
Yeah.
So it's times like that that I use to really like anchor myself and propel me forward, because I didn't want to be the statistic. I didn't want to be the rule. I wanted to be the exception. And anybody that knows me, they're like, Jenn is headstrong. She is stubborn as hell. Like where there is a will, there is a way. Sometimes it bites her in the butt, but at least she tries. And majority of the time, it's for the greater of herself and the growth, and to challenge herself.
So you go to the hospital, right? And
Hmm.
what was their reaction? What did they tell you was the options, or what was happening to you specifically, and the outcome that they expected?
So thank God. Thank God, and also not thank God. Well, yeah, thank God, period, because the experiences have led me to here, and that's why I'm such a big patient advocate. They were going
Mhm.
to discharge me without any proper diagnosis. Thankfully, at the time, I mean, I've always remained very well connected with relationships with my physicians, and I texted my neurologist at the time, came in and checked on me, and he was doing just basic tests, and he was like, "Did they do XYZ on you?" And I'm like, "No." It's like they should have with your symptoms. And I was like, oh, well, they were no, they were just about to let me go home. He was like, no, 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 no. You're getting admitted. And it's things like that where had I gone home, my heart was so inflamed from stress and Lyme's disease that was also undiagnosed at the time, around the same time, like that time, that I could have literally died in my sleep from the inflammation around my heart and the pericardium and the stress and how weak my body already was at the time. So that's why I'm very adamant about learning your body, advocating for yourself, and me incorporating asking so many questions to my patients and hearing them, not what the report on the computer is telling me. Um, and yeah, the diagnosis was I had the basically a stroke of a nerve, and then I had such inflammation from that nerve it called the facial Bell's palsy. When they were also running additional tests at the time, they actually found that I had Lyme's disease as well. Completely unexpected. Completely no. I'm not a camper. I would love to say I'm a camper. I'm not a camper from Seattle. I'm not a camper.
Yeah.
So
Probably not the
there
best
was never
candidate.
yeah no deers out here. So um, I was just constantly. I had to do IV infusions for about 8 weeks. They thought I was going to get my face back in about 6 to 7 months. I got
Now,
it back in
what
9.
kinda IVs are we talking here?
It was Rocephin. So Rocephin is an IV antibiotic to help treat the Lyme's disease, which was to also help treat like the symptoms that the Lyme disease was causing, which was inflammation, which was hurting the nerve on my brain. Um,
Now,
turns
do they
out that
know how you got the Lyme's disease?
never, there was
Hmm.
only ever speculation because of the severity of the stress long term, because of the chronic inflammation that my body signals were giving out everywhere. Just imagine all your wires just crossing and just kind of melting down, and your body doesn't even know what signal to receive. It just kind of feels like that signal. So I
Mhm.
think it's that signal. So that's what I'm going to send out to you. Um, so that's why I was saying really sitting with yourself is important. I did those IVs. Turns out I was allergic to some because my veins were so weak at the time. It was going into my body, so I was allergic to that for a bit. It yeah, it was a challenge for sure. On my birthday, face paralyzed, but I was Two Face from Batman, and I was great. My
Well
makeup
played.
did not crack at all. No cracking of the makeup. Everyone
Why
was like,
would it?
"Yeah." They were like, "How did you get it to not freeze?" I'm like, "My face is paralyzed." Like,
Yeah. Welcome to my world.
yeah. So it was like I said. Then that's another thing about power positivity. Nobody ever knew I had Lyme's. In regards to my Bell's palsy as well, obviously stress, broken heart syndrome was one of the diagnoses actually at the time as well. Um, just grief stricken in just chronic PTSD, stress, anxiety, depression. All of those things can definitely overload your body and your nervous system, especially when you're running from it for so long that it
Mhm.
starts to bleed into other areas in your body, like your heart, in your stomach, in your brain. It builds up.
That
So,
can make a lot of sense.
yeah,
So you
yeah,
so you run through this activity in 2000, I would say 17, 18, right?
yeah.
And, um, you mentioned that you started to do basically everything and anything. You looked into a lot of different things, a lot of different healing, and one of them was, what did you say? It was,
The
like
life vessel.
vibrations?
Yeah, by frequencies. Yes,
Frequencies, yes, yes. Can you get
yes.
into frequencies and such? And, because there's a lot of stuff that there's different things now that pop up about frequency settings and what is healing and what is there's different levels of what different frequencies can do, allowing stuff to come through, allowing stuff to I guess regenerate. I think, but there's different levels to different things. And um how did you know to go that route, and when did you start doing it, and how long did it take before you started to realize things were changing?
Um, when I started to get into when my face was paralyzed, I got into all modalities. Acupuncture, Chinese medicine was one of them. Being in those healing rooms, they would have frequencies playing, and I would just notice decompression in there. So of course I got curious, asked what they were playing, and one of them was a 432 hertz frequency, which is just meant for like peace, releasing. It's like a God frequency. And I started using frequencies probably the beginning of 2018, and I might primarily use them at night because I hard time sleeping. My mind was nonstop. I was also really determined to not fall into depression, so I stayed busy by enrolling into doctorates in acupuncture and Chinese medicine because it healed my face. Um, so I was really busy at the time, and frequencies saved me in the sense that it brought me relaxation and it brought me actual rest.
Mm.
I use a grade of variations even now. My kids, during pregnancy, use frequencies. My kids request frequencies now. My son is like ADHD, and I'll ask him, "Do you want music or do you want frequencies?" And he's like, "No, I want the alien music. I want frequencies." And I'm like, "Okay." And I use a specific ADHD one for him, and he'll literally just go hours quietly focusing, building an entire like TIE fighter Star Wars Lego kit by himself. And like I said, he's ADHD. So for him to do that, when I can't have him sit down doing a damn coloring book for 10 minutes in the living room, but I can do that with him, I just visually see it. Within myself, I probably felt it consistently and actually like got called to my face about it like maybe 2 months after using it. But my roommate noticed something within the first couple of weeks because I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't out to process in the nighttime. He worked in the military, so he was up coming home late from whatever, Navy stuff. And he was like, "You were actually out, dude. Like you're out." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
And since then, honestly, I will use frequencies for my migraines because I've been so migraine prone, for pain. Um, I was diagnosed early on in like my early 20s with such a like so many different musculoskeletal issues that I was on close to like 350 milligrams of morphine equivalent a day in my 20s. Yeah, for my 20s till about like 23 or so. Pain management, like all legit, all the doctor gives this to you and you do your drug tests and all that. Um, I was numb. I had a lot of just, why would I need more? I literally took myself off of that overnight, with the exception of muscle relaxers, and that was gradually reduced within like 2 weeks.
Mm.
And I did that because of sensory deprivation tanks.
Another one I have to dive into.
I'm all about the wellness because I've had addiction around my life pretty much the entirety of my childhood, in adulthood, high school. So I never wanted to really remain in that dependency. When I
Mhm.
broke my leg when I was younger, they had given me painkillers as a kid, and I just didn't like how I felt. I didn't like how agitated I felt. I naturally have an adverse reaction to stuff like that, so it should make you chill. It did not make me chill. So I just didn't like feeling like that, and I felt like there was other ways, even at a young age, for me to feel better without having to
Yeah.
depend on something else. So that's why. Is it covered by insurance? Yeah, the pills are, but what happens after they're gone? And that they don't cover that. They don't cover your mental health. They don't cover your chronic conditions that happen after you take XYZ for so long. So I didn't want that to be part of my life. I didn't want that to be part of my story, especially when I spent 2 hours in a float tank, fucking came out feeling great, slept all night. The hell do I need pills for? There's other ways.
How long did it feel like you were in the tank for?
Bro, hours. The first time I was in the float tank, I shit you not, I saw glaciers, and I don't trip. I wasn't totally sober. I was sober, no pain pills, nothing. Just maybe I smoked a bowl. We're in California, but like going in the float tank and stuff, and literally just sat with myself. it took 30 minutes for my body to just decompress and be
Mhm.
used to the nothingness, because you literally don't hear anything, see anything. You can go in nude because it's like over 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt, about like 12 inches to 14 inches of, room temperature water. You're effortlessly floating in there. So all the magnesium, potassium running through your body just being supported safely. Yeah, I tripped out in there solely just with how my body felt. Saw glaciers. I felt like I was in there for a long time. I felt the breeze, and I was in California doing it in a garage. I can see like purple, blue, pink hues of a sunset. I can feel cold, and there's no breeze in the box. I just felt really peaceful, and I hadn't felt that obviously in a long time. Even on all the pain meds that they had me on, never felt any kind of peace like that or relief like that. So for me, that was my one and done. Like I was like, all right, I'm sold. I'm good. Like, and he loved it so much too. Him and his girlfriend had actually bought the tank and had it in his house. He would go floating. He would sleep in there for 2-3 hours, come out as if he woke up and was asleep for 6 to 8 hours, because of
Wow.
that's how your body receives that rest. That's how your body receives that magnesium, potassium, the room temperature, the actual rest of nothing going on around you to be distracted or voided of your REM, your sleep, your deep sleep, your circadian rhythm cycle is like good. So,
I've noticed that, and this is for basically anybody listening. I think we've all gone to sleep with, and we all still have it. The problem is that there's a phone right next to you. A, there's waves that are going through the air, and your body's not resting. B, everybody looks at their phone very, very quickly, and that fucks up your melatonin levels in your body.
yep.
So when you're looking at it, this people don't understand that the screen on here is not. If you look at the sun, you look at the screen. Obviously, you're going to know that the sun is messing with your eyes more, right? But your
Yeah.
body just sees it as, okay, there's a light that's really bright right now, so your body gets the signal to, oh, it's time to get up, right? So now it's messing with your melatonin levels, and your
Yep.
melatonin levels start to get fucked up because of that. So you keep doing it every morning, you are now messing it up, right? You're not getting the actual regular light that's supposed to come actually through your eyes, through your
Yep.
pupils, because you're relying on a synthetic light that has been made, and it's the worst light that you could possibly have. Now, with that being said, you have the radio waves, you have this, or let's just say something very small, a light on a TV box or something, right?
Yeah. There's the
That can
LED
still
overhead light.
that could still keep you up. I have had the best sleep in actual pitch black.
Yeah.
Pitch black.
Nothing. Nothing.
And I used to oversleep, like not for work. Like I would have my alarm clock on, or or not the alarm. I wouldn't have my alarm clock on because I didn't have to sleep, and I would wake up, and I was like, "What time is it?" It's like 2 o'clock. I'm like,
You're like
"It's
dazed and
two."
confused.
It's like it's 2 o'clock. They're like, "Yeah, you needed to sleep." I'm like,
You're
"Wow."
like, well, damn.
Yeah, but I mean, it was also, at the time, the person I was with was also um working night shift, so everything was kind of wonky, right? But it's like,
Yep.
so I just let you sleep. So I'm like, okay, cool. So right, but it
You're
never.
like, God damn.
But it was like when I slept and I woke up. I was like, okay, it's probably time to get up. It's probably like 10 or 11, right? Okay, right. No, it's 2 o'clock. I probably could have went right back to bed too, but I felt great. I
Yep.
woke up and I felt great. So pitch black always does it.
That's so crazy too, because after I experienced the float pods, it took me back to experiences I had as a kid growing up in Seattle. So
Mhm.
like we would do like family events, and we went to this place called the Ape Caves. The Ape Caves is, I forget the story of it, but long story short, it's literally pitch black through the entirety of the hike caving tunnel. You can be like this, you cannot see your hand in your face, literally. And it's crazy because like, and we would do that quite a bit, that hike quite a bit. That's like probably the only hike in my life, and that's just long I've ever felt refreshed coming out on the other side of.
Hmm.
And I mean, like, granted, it's not like treacherously like high or like steep. I mean, you're in a cave like created by lava and all that, so it's pitch black. But it's just like the experience when you're like more in dark areas. When I hike in a very shaded tree area, I feel more refreshed versus when I'm exposed to just straight direct sunlight. I feel more healing in the direct sunlight, but I feel more rested after hikes when I'm in the more shaded, darker areas.
Yeah.
So it's just different how the body really responds to what you need at the time, because your body will straight up tell you what you need. Just gotta listen, which is
And
hard.
through therapy too, I was able to do body scans, which I didn't never knew what that was. And she ran me through. She's like, okay, we're gonna do a body scan real quick. I had no idea what that was. So she told me that, hey, you're gonna close your eyes for a second. You're gonna breathe, and you're gonna take your time breathing. And each
Mm-hmm.
time you're gonna have a concentration either from, I think she started from the bottom and worked her way up, and
Yeah,
then
you root up.
from the top worked her way back down. You don't realize, I mean, if nobody's ever done this, you don't realize the pain that you actually have in your body that you are ignoring until you do the scan. And it's the simplest thing. But you'll be like, yeah, I definitely have a pain there. I have a pain there.
Mm-hmm.
That's there. Feel that stiffness. But you don't think about it because you're always on the go. You're always on the front. You're always
Yeah.
just, and it's definitely an eye opener.
And that's one of the reasons why I love the flow tank, and it's showing me where my pains were before I got off on my pain meds. Because I sat in there and I try to do my best with everything with intention. We're humans. We all don't always do that. But for the most
Mhm.
part, I really try to. So when I went in the flow tank, I was just like, I'm going to heal. Like, I want to feel good. When you're in there, and each time I go in there, I'll just, like you say, breathe. Listen to where you're kind of feeling those pains or aches or whatever the hell, and then focus all your energy on that shit and just be like, this is healed, this is healed. Because it's crazy how even sitting in like the flow tank, you're literally sitting in Epsom salt. It's minerals that are good for your body. We're so depleted from this stuff anyways.
Mhm.
Our skin's the biggest organ, like pore in our body. That's the biggest thing that we receive things through. You're in water that's at room temperature. Your pores are already open. If you're intentional about where you're feeling the hurt in your body, you can send the healing to those portions of your body. So literally coming out with like less back pain and like the flow tank, because you're intentional about it and you
Mhm.
sit with yourself and you feel it. You're not just, like you say, ignoring it, skipping through it.
Yeah, just kinda
You're working on
moseying
it.
on through.
You're working on it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, when you started doing, like, frequencies and such too, what did you find that you learned more, like, what were some of the fun things that you learned about frequencies that you probably didn't know? Like you said you were starting at, like, what, 432 or something like that, and you found some stuff for your son too that works.
Yeah.
What did you say the one was that you did for, like, sleep?
528.
528, okay.
Yeah.
Would that
528
just zonk
hertz.
you out?
Kind of. It's just more like just really deep. And it's crazy because I just got my like my watch again and like tracking. So I used to track them, how to track your sleep and stuff. My grade scores when I wouldn't sleep literally would be in like the 40s, 50s, on and off awake like every hour and a half, 45 minutes, 2 hours. When I have what was my sleep score last night? Like when I have my frequencies on, it was like at 80, 84. So it'll range anywhere from like 64 to 84. 40 is a bad night with no frequencies.
Hmm.
But it's the time that I sleep in a block when I have my frequencies on, where I'm actually rested. I notice the difference.
What is it that you use to get these frequencies out? What kinda, is this a device? Is this the, like, well, it's gotta be some sort of
Spotify.
device.
Spotify.
Spotify?
Yeah. Yeah. I look at a lot of different frequency playlists.
Yeah.
Um shit, even like my daily like music, like with words, are certain frequencies for like intentions and manifestations. And I try. I mean, I love my emo screamo angry music, but like with the kids in the car, I'll even notice an energy shift in them. If I
Mm,
listen to like my angry music versus like my more calm, like, or not even calm music, but it's still hype, hey, hey, but it's the frequency is what is different in the music and obviously the lyrics.
yeah.
I noticed a complete change in my kids. And I mean, as a parent, we all kind of figure out as we learn through our kids what does and doesn't work, or like are we really Delulu, or does it actually work? And I'm like, no, this should actually work with my kids. Like, I see a difference in them because I'm doing it for them consistently. Um, yeah. And the frequency that I use a lot for 528, it's like a DNA repair frequency, like more of a cellular repair, a love frequency. So I'm more of like my internal loving of myself, telling myself like I'm healing myself, that I have the capability of doing that within myself because I love myself. That's all energy, it's all frequency. I don't have to seek outside all of the time to really learn what my body needs because I love myself and I'm being intentional with myself and listening to myself. And
Mm,
like you say, we have so many distractions: the phone, the screen, the people, everything.
mm.
So when we're sleeping, that is the only time we can actually truly heal, unplug, or plug in, depending on how you want to view the world, and literally just reset and restore yourself. The frequencies are going to make sure that you do that subconsciously. You don't need to do anything. You don't have to consciously think about I'm regenerating. No, your frequency, your environment is doing that for you.
And there's something else too, like with what people I think don't understand. I didn't understand this until I would say at least 7 to 8 years ago, right? Is that when you do go to sleep, your body is repairing itself, right? Now it repairs itself in certain ways. So it's like immediately when you're out, it's like, okay, we're gonna go to these places that need to be healed, touched on, whatever it needs to do, right? So it's trying to repair itself. And I did the 3-2-1 method of don't eat 3 hours before. I did this for about a month. Don't eat 3 hours before you go to bed. Um, no problem solving 2 hours beforehand. So everything is just like if you're gonna watch a show, it's got to be just entertainment. Don't no, you don't want to do a cold case. Okay, that's not gonna help you.
Yeah, who done it? Yeah.
Yeah. And then 1 hour before is no electronics. So I would go to scripture. I would read scripture. And then this is the first time in a long time that I'm like reading a book and I'm passing out, right? Because I also changed whatever lights I had to warm lights. I
Oh,
don't
good.
want
Yeah.
fluorescent lights, I want everything just calm down and um
The
I
candescent
had
lights.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had deeper sleep at this point, better healing at this point, because it was broken down to me in a fact that it's like, okay, if you eat right beforehand, which I've done, which from time to time I still do, um, the blood is going to go to wherever he said, think of it as you're working out in the gym. Okay. If you're doing curls, and you notice that your arms are getting bigger, it's because the blood starts to go to where the muscles are being used and everything's going. So the blood is going to go there because it's like, hey, it needs help over here, let's go over here. He's like, when you're digesting, the blood is going to go more towards your stomach and your mid area because you need to start breaking that stuff down. He's like,
Yep.
well, if it doesn't have anywhere to break down because you didn't eat anything, you didn't do anything, you didn't work out before you went to bed, well, then it can actually naturally go to the places that it has to go rather than being distracted from the things you did before bed, eating,
Yep.
working out, whatever it might be. And it can actually begin to heal the actual things in your body.
Yep.
And I was just like, this makes so much sense, like
It's
who'd
like,
have
okay,
thought?
so it's like visually for me. It's like, I mean, like I said, single mom too. So for me, it's like stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And it's like for the kitchen, go to sleep with the dishes empty, bro. So when you wake up in the morning, you're not catching up on stuff from the night before. You could just hop to it and get to what actually needs to get done. So
Yeah.
it's like it's the same thing when we're eating. And that's I personally myself for a couple of years now will automatically set up my phone to do like a turn off all the apps at a certain time. It'll turn off like D&D, and it will not turn on until like 7 a.m. the next morning. And I have like black and white, color protection, all that stuff.
Mm.
Because I won't do it. I will forget. I will sit there on death scroll forever. And then I'm like, holy shit, here go 2-3 hours of nothingness. And now I can't sleep because I saw some bullshit I want to see, and
Yeah.
then you're feeding more to the mind and not to the body. So it's like
Yeah.
hot tea or something warm, or like wash your face or something for you and your body, not for your brain and the stimulation.
That makes sense. Yeah. And it's a lot because people don't if we've been so programmed not to think about everything else rather than think about these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
or
and like I
I
said,
should say distracted.
yeah, like I said, I'm ADHD. They're like, "Holy shit, Jen, can you just for once just sit?" And I'm like, "Y'all, the only time I could see a movie is at the movie theaters when there's nothing else to do and I ain't got like stuff or surrounding me to distract me, you know,
Yeah.
because it's always there's always something." And so that's why it's create your space, create something where like it's for you for a couple minutes. 5 minutes a day of nothing.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. That's called meditation.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Start there.
so I want to get into the when you were a plastic surgeon technician and
Yeah.
what that looked like when you kind of went in there. What were your thoughts when you first went in there, and what were your thoughts kind of when I guess when you started doing your own thing and such? So you the plastic surgeon technician, how did you start in that area, and what were your initial thoughts going in?
I started in that area because I was grateful he knew the neurosurgeon and the team that I worked with, and I
Mhm.
was ready to just find a different field that I wanted to expand my knowledge in. So thankfully, I like that was how I got the introduction. I had applied on my own. It was just helpful that they knew each other, so that locked it in. Going in, of course, I was, God, I don't think I was like 21-ish or so. I was like my young 20s. So of course it's like aesthetics, plastic surgery, like, ooh, like let's see what we can do. Like, okay, San Diego, let's go, you know? So that was totally my mindset on it, you know, like just being like, okay, what can we do, Jen? What can we do for you? Like kind of looking at myself in that mannerism when I was kind of going into it, my surroundings. Um, and then as I started working into it, I was really blessed to work with a plastic surgeon who wasn't really there for the aesthetics. I mean, crazy because he's a plastic surgeon, right? He was
Mm,
there for the he was there for the patient. We had a lot of breast cancer survivors as our
mm,
patients, or crazy severe weight loss patients, or men who had genetic issues where they were fit but they just had pectorals where they were like moves, and it was a self-conscious thing for them, and so as I started working into it and really learning the patients and their stories as to why, even the ones who were doing plastic surgeries for themselves, it wasn't about the aesthetics. It was really understanding the why for them. And the majority of the patients really had it because they had stories that they either survived from, or it was setting them apart to start a new chapter in their life, or they were setting new roots down to just completely have a whole new book for themselves in this part of their life. And I was really blessed to be able to be a part of that team and to be a part of those patients in that time that they needed somebody like me to, you know, it's a sensitive topic when you're taking pictures of people literally naked, and they're holding parts of themselves that they've lost weight, hundreds of pounds of weight of just skin, and it's a blessing, and it's also something that some people still have shame to carry, literally. So being in environments like that, or women who survive breast cancer and they don't have what makes them a woman, to them and to society and biologically. And it's just being in those environments, it's very humbling, and it just kind of opens your eyes to humanity and vulnerability and honesty with themselves, because people at this point have already looked at themselves up and down externally so much that it's actually affected them deep down inside here and here. So that's why they're a little bit more open to actually sitting with themselves and seeing, this doesn't work for me anymore. This is the change that I want to do, and I, like I said, I was really blessed to be a part of that experience at that time, because I incorporate a lot of that in my business. I want to hear people. I don't want to see what am I going to do for you to look better, feel better, do better. Yeah, but what makes you really feel better? Not about what you're looking like. What do you need as a person? Not what the people around you think you need, or what the people or images you're seeing tell you think you need. Like, take all that stuff out, take out your distractions, take out these voices from your head, sit in a damn float tank where you're forced to sit in nothingness, cancel out the noise. What do you need? And it was a blessing because, like I said, being a plastic surgeon and tech on the patient side of things, that was the most gratifying thing to me. And I think that was the biggest thing that I took from that learning experience at that time for me.
mm.
Um, on the technical aspect of it, I love the nitty gritty gory. I'll suck out fat from the cannulas all day. I will clean and like I will grab the little pieces of your little eyelid as he's lasering it off to give you no saggy eyelids. I love all that. And it's so interesting to me because it's helping them. It's helping them feel better. It's just helping them have better quality of life for themselves. And the goal and the prayer is that that's going to reciprocate positively in their lives to the people around them. That's my intention all the time for people whenever I see patients, regardless of whatever anybody else has said or seen them as.
Yeah.
It's for them and improving the quality. And I am nobody's judge. I'm just here to help you and do with that as you please. But my intention was pure and authentic about it, and it was in good heart. So
Yeah.
can't control what the person does with that.
No, you can't. We actually had this girl named Carolina Villalone, who actually she's a tattoo artist over here, but she had her journey over on the West Coast as well. I believe it was in California, and she described her whole story. But she also took in breast cancer patients and would do amazing areola tattoos. I mean, like, and she would fix the ones that looked really terrible. So, yeah, she still does amazing work. And actually, she had one of the pets that came on the show.
Oh, really?
Apollo.
I love
Yeah,
that.
so Apollo was there.
I love that.
And that dog goes everywhere with her. Anywhere that she is, that's where that dog is. So
ride or die road dog, man, literally.
Yeah. So but so that was another journey that you kind of went through. There was the plastic surgeon technician. And where did it come in where where you started to learn about like lymphatic function and like when was that kind of introduced to where you wanted to know more, or that was something that was important to you to understand?
That was something that was kind of like in the background, like around the time of my facial paralysis. I just never
Mhm.
really paid much attention to it till about I started to get into school, like 2018. Um, the lymphatic system, I learned more about it with the wellness of the body because the plastic surgeon, his wife, also is an integrative wellness provider. So
Mhm.
I learned things from her as well in the course of looking at your nutrition in the body. So I kind of outbranched from there, and the nutrition took it a step outwards from nutrition in the gut and seeing how else everything else implicates that, the lymphatic system. And because the lymphatic system doesn't have a pump, we it's important for us to cycle it out. It's stagnant.
Mhm.
It's part of your body. It's there, but it's not like the heart where you're constantly pumping blood in and out like your veins. You have the pulse. Like no, it's just there. It's stagnant. So if you're not treating it, things are going to build up and get locked up in. So because of all of the multitudes of, I'm how old am I? I'm like, how old am I? I'm 34. But I was like, how to think about that geriatric much? 34 internally, externally, whatever, much older. But the amount of symptoms, doctors' offices that I've been to, specialists that I've seen, it, I'm like, okay, I am very young to be in a lot of these offices. I'm sharing them with seniors. They think that I'm
Mhm.
waiting for my grandparents. And it's like, all right, well, if I'm doing everything the doctors are saying, I've done, acupuncture for my face, I've done blah, 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 blah. What else, Jen? Like, what else are you missing, dude? Because you're doing all the things and you're still having symptoms. You're still getting new things later on. So what's going on, dude? So I hold myself accountable for a lot of things. I don't try to victimize myself. I learned to let go through a lot of that in the time of the facial paralysis, me losing my spouse and all of that back in 2017. So it's like, all right, girl, what else are we not learning about our body? Lymphatics. And that was like, honestly, closer to like 2019-ish or so. And then 2020 it kind of really took over because I found out I was pregnant with my firstborn. And I just kind of reignited my passion into what I can do for preventative measures for not only myself, but not my kid. Because the entirety of the world suffers with some kind of symptom or chronic illness, period. And I wanted to see what I can do firsthand to prevent that. And if I
Mhm.
can't prevent it, how can I treat it within that system before I start loading it with medications and other toxins that my body can't even process out because there's no pump for the lymphatic system. So It was one of those like micro rabbit holes that I just kind of went down on myself and seeing what
Yeah.
can I do.
For people that don't understand, like what the lymphatic system is, what an easy breakdown, what would that look like?
Easy breakdown for lymphatic system. It's your body's detox system. It holds in all of the toxins of your body. It's your natural filter, your air
Mm.
filter, oil filter, whatever filter. It's your filter. And if that filter, it's like your AC filter at home. If y'all are not changing your air filters or have somebody to regulate that stuff, it gets clogged. If it gets clogged, it's going to affect your environment. It's getting dust, mold, la la la's. You're breathing that in. You're cooking in it. You're sleeping in it. You're showering in it. That's the lymphatic system. If you're not actively taking it out, dusting it off, change whatever it may be, it's clogged. It's not, you're recycling the toxins within your body. You're not giving it an exit point. You're just finding new areas for it to move within your body. And the lymphatic covers the entirety of the body from head to toe, and there's a lot of places for it to hide.
So where was at this point, right? So we've moved up from about 11 years at this point, right? So we've gone from the 2008 era, right? From the crash,
Yep.
the crash of homes
Yeah.
of of Seattle, nonetheless, right? Or we're no, you were still in the area of California, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Um, so now you're in like 2019-ish, right? Have you started uh Jennuine Wellness at this point yet?
Not
So
yet.
so you've gone through all of these stages of learning all
Hmm.
of these different things. And when did the bell go off in your head? It's like, okay, I've had enough. I think I'm ready to like do this, or was it never a thought in your head and it was just an idea that just came up?
It was honestly, I've loved learning so much about the body and how I can help others around me. It was not until I actually got my son's first ultrasound where I was like, how the hell can I cap me up to share the knowledge and wealth outside without just being like somebody has to know me, to talk to me, to
Mm.
be connected to me, to get my not just like my knowledge, but my experience that I've lived through and I can actually advocate for it myself, not just what I've seen in the video, and because I've used such out of the box woo woo, like different type of healing modalities where people really don't know about it and they question it. And half the time it's expensive. Like, let's be so real. It's no one wants to spend money on something they don't know if it works or not. Or to be part of a fad or a bandwagon, or so and so saw someone do it and now they want to do it.
Right.
Like, it's real. And I will never, and that's why I like that was my life, was I want to help people not feel like the patient that was dropped in the cracks for so long. And God willing, maybe have prevented half the crap that I have now. Because even now I still have chronic things that are coming up. Things that, could be prevented, could have been prevented many moons ago. Had someone just took the time to listen to me, not
Mm.
look at my insurance, not send the referrals per the doctor's orders. No, they're not just looking at what the computer says. They're looking at me and they're feeling me and seeing how I'm responding to my current reality. Because a lot of people, honestly, when they hit that point, they've already tried a lot for themselves and they're looking to you for an answer. And you're just like, well, your insurance says no, or I don't have time for you on the schedule today, or, well, now you're screwed living in pain, confusion, chaos,
Mhm.
whatever. No, like, so I wanted
Yeah.
to make sure I was like that because it's like, not because that's going to be my kid one day. So what can I do in my part? What part can I do for myself to, you know, be an example? I'm, one of billions, but maybe in my small community, maybe somebody might actually take observation as to how I really want to radiate that light. And maybe take some of that light like a firefly and fucking go off and set off their little firefly light and see what kind of fields they set on fire in positivity and growth and education and wellness and being a human that actually wants to help other humans
Yeah.
authentically.
I think I've been through that issue as well with I spent a couple of years trying to find a holistic doctor, right? And I finally found one, and it was right before COVID,
Yep.
and I didn't take the vaccine. She was highly against the vaccine as well. And she told me all the reasons why. Not only that, she told me one of her patients, she believes that she probably had possibly one of the first 50 or 100 blood samples of one of the people that came over here from Italy. And I was like, no way. And she was like, yeah, because all of the different things that happened were exactly what turned into, COVID-19 or what have you, right?
Yep.
So then she did that, and after a while she said, hey, if X, Y, and Z happens, do this X, Y, blah 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 blah. Okay, cool. So I did.
Yeah.
Now, after a while, my insurance did not cover her. And she was like, she's like, unfortunately, I don't have that kind of, and she's like, they're taking a lot of insurances away from me. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. She's like, this happens a lot when you
Pandemics
don't.
happen.
Yep. And she's like, especially when they start to realize that you don't want to work with the pharmaceutical companies. And I'm like, wow. She's like, yeah, it's real. It's real.
Very, very real. That is a big reason why I took a break from studying Western medicine and switched to Eastern medicine. Because I've had a lot of jobs in the medical field. I've been blessed to encounter a lot of different individuals. During COVID, I was pregnant, COVID babies, and I was working at a med spa at the time. And one of my patients, and I had been there for a while too, one of my patients actually worked at one of the labs that created the strain and told me to my face, don't you ever get that. You're pregnant, you're going to be a mom, you never get that in your life. I don't care who tells you, I don't care if this job tells you they're going to fire you. Don't get that. I haven't even had that shot. Most of my coworkers haven't had that injection. This was in 2020, like the ending of 2020, right before I had my baby, because my baby was born October.
Look, there was so many things that shied me away. Okay, I am that person. If somebody is begging you to do something, I'm going to question why you want me to do it. Okay.
Thank God you did.
And when you see the New York City mayor on TV eating a burger and fries on national television, telling you that you can get a free burger and free fries, and he's eating it in front of your face on national television and smiling about it, I'm good. You guys have gone way above and beyond to let me know that it is the biggest scheme that I've ever seen in my life. You've given it to all the different homeless people. When was the last time you guys have ever done that?
When's the last time you guys gave anything free that actually benefited the civilian?
Never.
Flu shots, nope. Vaccines, nope. And thankfully now a lot of those things are coming to light. I cannot tell you, but like my mom, and she will like put this down all the time, and my dad too. They're like, you, Jen, have always been something else, girl. You're not from here. You're not from here. It's okay though. You've always been into your little woo-woo things. I've been talking about nanotechnology since I was 13 years old. Since Radio Shack has been around. And when they had signed contracts many moons ago with nanotechnology and how it was going to be dust, and told my mom about different wavelengths and herbs. I would go picking out stuff from my bushes in Washington in the back, making my own little, it's just COVID was a big thing. Don't get it. What it's going to do to you. Coagulating all the proteins, literally embalm, like the people who embalm bodies were pulling out 30 plus feet of your blood coagulated from the proteins because you can't break it down. Never in their history of working on that have they ever seen that. That's not normal. People forget to question what is being forced down their throat. We don't have to all be collectively walking into somewhere to be exterminated. We as a collective are doing that when we don't ask questions. Period.
Somebody sat Bill Gates down, had a whole interview with him and asked him, so you're obviously, for the vaccine or what have you, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he says,
But not
well,
the
why?
people.
why did you how much weight does your opinion carry? And he's like, well, I I talk to, I know doctors. And she's like, no, no, I understand that you know doctors, but what makes you a doctor to say that these people can have it? She's like, what did you do in your life? He's like, well, I don't know if you know. And he was being very smug about Microsoft and blah blah blah. She's like, and that's great. How does that make you
Why?
and your answer justified about being a doctor, about vaccines, about shots, about it doesn't. You know people that are telling you to do this. So how is your opinion justified in it?
Exactly.
And we need to stop listening to people that just have money.
And that's oh my god, I could go down this rabbit hole for so long. They'd be like, girl.
You're welcome.
Because I mean, he even his technology. I remember when I would be in like Washington, we would like be like past his house, and like the technology back then, you walk into the room and it reads your body temperature, and then it adjusts the room to your body temperature. It was a
Mhm.
literal smart house back in like early 2000s. So I can only imagine like things now and the entitlement people like that have to control because they like their little bubble. So it works for them, works for everybody else or less than.
Yeah.
And it's like you have no right. You have no experience other than money.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, look, he knew what he was doing with computers. Cool, stick to it.
oh
Stick to
yeah.
that, you know? Um, but I do want to get into so you made Jennuine Wellness and what were some of the first things, and you can go down this rabbit hole of the things that you offered, the things that you offered to your customers, and what did you start off with? What was one thing that you wanted to make sure that your customers got right off the bat, and that they understood that you were going to give them and how they're going to be treated?
Because I wanted all of my clients. I started out with body sculpting
Mm,
in 2020, which was using ultrasonic cavitation and radio frequency and vacuum therapy. I got certified when I was still pregnant, and my that was body sculpting. And my thing with them was I told all my clients the confidence comes from doing the work, not rushing the outcome. Because a lot of providers at the time, it was a whole new fad, body sculpting, these inches, blah blah blah. A lot of them had unrealistic expectations. So my thing was I wanted to stand out by just being right off the bat authentic, giving you an expectation. This is what I can do for you. I'm not a magic stick. We are a team to get these results together. And this is what else I can do for you as far as recommending nutritional things based off my experience and what's aided me. And that's what was my first thing when I started Jennuine Wellness.
what are some of the other things that you carry on here? I mean, obviously, you go onto genuine-wellness.com, and there's a slew of just different things that you can look at. There's pricing, there's everything, there's health advice, there's just a whole bunch of different things that I've never even heard of before, and I'm like, this is interesting, you know. But you have a wide variety of different things that could maintain health, and
Y-
and some of them are just actually kind of cool things too, you know what I mean, that little cute things that people like to have too, so but
Yeah.
why did you feel that it was like important to kind of induce a few of those things as well, you know what I mean, like you have a couple of the things like that you can put on your teeth, right, some of those things as well.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
yeah, because honestly, at the end of the day, most people just want to feel better in their own bodies.
Hmm.
So and for me, like that's like my more fun stuff is like little tooth gems and stuff like that, and like the teeth whitening. Because smile for me is everything with people. You see the eyes, the smile. Some people don't smile because they don't like the way their teeth look, and
Yeah.
I don't want people to ever feel like they have to hide themselves. They should embrace themselves, love themselves, be themselves. And if I can amplify any of that confidence or bring out any of that love for you, by all means,
Mhm.
that's why I do those services too, because it's different. It's not, now it's a little bit more common, but when I started to do it, it was kind of, you know, whoa,
Yeah.
that's cool. Like you got some, and it's interesting to some people, those who have a hard time being a conversation starter. It kind of helps just get that little foot in the door for them when it comes to stuff like that. And that's why I like my T-step. It's just fun. People just want to feel good on their bodies, have fun with themselves. It's not
Yeah.
permanent. You're not getting a tattoo. I don't have to drill anything in your tooth. I use dental grade stuff. I can take it off later on. I've had people have it on for a couple months. Mine were on for a couple years. It varies. Mine were on for like 3 years.
Yeah. What do you think is the most popular one of the most popular things that people come one of your most popular services, I would say?
Lately, honestly, it's been the straight healing touch, like the healing and gut health touch. So
Mm,
I know a lot of worry from my own experience. Worry, stress, trauma lives in the gut, lives in the womb for females. And then studying Chinese medicine, a lot of your qi is stagnant in your kidneys. That's where a lot of other issues come up. And so I do a lot of primary focus on that lately, where I'm really helping people release things. Sometimes they're not the most relaxing services, but I
mhm.
provide safe environments for my clients to really just release and like get it out of their body and help
Yeah.
some and have somebody confident in knowing what they're doing to get it out of their body. I'm not moving it anywhere, or if I
Mhm.
move it, it's somewhere like in your bowel where you can get it out at some point. But it's clearing your body, clearing your energy, and reminding you yourself that you're safe in your body and you yourself have the tools already to help yourself in moments. Um, and that's the big thing because I integrate, like I said, my hand touch. I do use some of my ultrasound cavitation for some
Mhm.
people, depending on what I'm feeling at the time before I start. And then I also integrate a lot of my shake plate at the ending of all of my services because that's oh, it's just a regular vibration shake plate, goes through a range of intensities, but it's good for clearing out the lymphatic as a whole. Shaking it out, it's like doing 10 jumping jacks in the morning, waking everything up, clearing your body out after what I do for you, so I can make sure that there's any little nooks and crannies, so to speak, within that system. I'm not moving it anywhere. I'm moving it away into a point in your lymphs to get it out. Sweat it out, pee it out, cry it out, poop it out. It's going to get out. Yell it
Mhm.
out, but I'm going to take it to a place where it can get out for you. So that's been my most booked service recently, lately, especially through the holidays and the new year. It's been a lot. And then also because I'm Adam Sandler again, I'm a water girl. So a couple years ago, actually, I've always been crazy about water since I was a kid. Um, I invested actually in a Kangen Enagic machine a few years ago when I was pregnant, when I had my kids already, when I was already
Mhm.
making their baby foods and all that stuff. That's another thing that people come to me for education and to get the machine through for me because that is more like a lifelong investment that somebody does for themselves. That is my one and done machine for everything in my house. I don't use cleaning supplies anymore. I use that machine. I don't use Febreze anymore. I use that machine. I don't like if my cat or my kids cut themselves, I can sterilize it. I can sterilize my tools even with that machine. That machine does everything for me. So those are the two things that I get requested of the most. Because the machine, like I said, it's an investment. And I know like
Mhm.
when you go to get materials or high ticket items, a lot of people don't like to go because they're like, dude, that's just some sales wonky stuff. Like it's not, it's all a thing, And so that's why with me, I am real about it. I'm not going to sell you on something. All I'm going to do is educate you on it. If the people that are here nearby me, I'll literally give them like gallons and gallons of waters to try for a whole week, if not a couple months, before they
Yeah.
ever really commit to anything, so that they can see that it works for you. It works for their surroundings. It's not just water. It's medicine. Like
Yeah,
psoriasis, eczema, like
you need to stay hydrated.
helps. And that hydrates you on a cellular level. That is the closest type of drinking water you will get to any blue zone in the world. That is what
That's
that machine
amazing.
creates. Then that is why I invested in it. Because again, I invested not only for myself, but for my kids. That machine is going to last them damn near most of their whole life. And when it doesn't, they service it. And if they ever, it's a wellness, it's an investment. They got one body. We got one body. Take care of it. Learn about it. I've come to realize we live in a world where we can never avoid any toxicity or being dumped with parasites, poisons, you name it, it's there. You can't even walk outside your door without being dumped with something. I've had this damn
Yeah.
radiation fog for months out in California, and everyone has this crazy respiratory stuff. I can't do anything about the world. I'm not going to live in a bubble because that bubble is still tainted. But what I can do is I can learn what I can do to detox on my stuff, whether it's through my services or my machines or what I do. Like,
Yeah.
I'm, everyone's afraid of the world right now, and you shouldn't
Yeah.
have to be. It feeds into all of that. Don't be afraid. Educate yourself. Ask questions. And I forget his name, but he does psych too. And I had just seen something earlier. He tells his daughter, "You're not dumb after you ask a stupid question. You only ever ask a stupid question once. That's it. Like it's
Yeah.
might be dumb to you or dumb to the surrounding, but you one and done. As long as you can comprehend it, for the most part, most people do. That's it. Don't ever be afraid to ask it, because 70% of the surroundings within your area probably have the same question. They're just too
Yeah.
afraid to ask. It's the
I've
ego. It's
always,
hard.
I understand that 100% is because I was always afraid to ask the questions back in the day. And I think this
Yeah.
podcast has allowed me to learn so much more by bringing people like such as yourself on here so that other people can learn and
Yeah.
understand stuff. Cause I don't know everything either. You know, that the whole point
Yeah.
is, you know, anybody that thinks that I know all this stuff and I'm just having a conversation with somebody that I know the same information about is wrong, because I bring people on here so I can understand and spread that out to the other people that want to listen to this podcast. I don't know.
Hmm.
I know some things, and that some things is very much so maybe the 1 to 2% of the stuff that has actually passed through and
There.
stuck in there. That's about it. Because I'm a guy, it goes in one ear and out the other. That's, you know, we all know that. But
That's all good. That's me and my squirrel moments. Squirrel.
yeah, yeah, the dog, what is it?
Doug.
The
Doug
golden
the dog.
retriever with the tennis balls. Yeah. What is so if there was one message that you could give somebody as a parting gift, what would that message be?
Ooh, that's a good one. Like collectively, like as me and myself for
Oh,
everybody.
well, yeah, I wouldn't want you to do it as George Washington.
Well, I didn't want to be there for like more business oriented or more just like
It could
life and
be
who Jenn is.
it could be I think it's probably who Jenn is, because I don't think you would have made Jennuine Wellness unless there was Jenn. So
Honestly, my biggest thing to people and learning myself over the years is we can't be afraid of ourselves. We really cannot be afraid of ourselves, because the more afraid that we are of ourselves, we really hinder ourselves from loving ourselves and letting those people really experience us and really giving them a fair shot of loving us and being there for us. So learn yourself, sit with yourself, don't be afraid of yourself, and question yourself to learn more. Because if you're not growing, you're stagnant. If you're stagnant, it's stagnation is death. I always say closed mouths don't get fed. Open up. The worst they can
yeah,
say is no. The worst they can say is I don't got enough right now. Or here's a couple scraps.
yeah.
That like that's the biggest thing
No,
always.
no stands for next opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
That's and I'll be honest with you, like one good way of like trying to make sure that like you understand who you are. I've done this before because I had to get through some shit before,
Yeah.
and I've had these thoughts in my head and I've always avoided them. So I did my own therapy, but after this I was like, okay, let's go see a real therapist after this. Okay, you know, because I was like, I broke the code. Okay.
Yeah.
But now I don't know what to do with all this stuff. So it's like I had to, you know, hire somebody, right? Um, ask the who, what, where, how, and when about everything. So who are you? Who
Hmm.
is in the mindset of the one thing that you keep on pushing to the side? Anytime that comes up, no, I don't want to think about that. Okay, who's involved with that? Where does it happen? Meaning, where are you when it happens? Is it a specific place? Does it happen when you're at, maybe, I don't know, at home, or does it happen when you're always at a coffee shop? What happens to you when that happens? Right? Write all of this down, and through each one
Hmm.
of those W's and how, you have to rewrite all the W's again.
Yeah.
So you're dissecting and then dissecting and then dissecting, and then you will get to the root of what the issue is. The only problem is, I guarantee you, it's going to take at least 2 weeks for you to start
At
to open up to yourself, because you don't want to
that,
answer those questions.
hell no, you avoided them for a reason for so long to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things. Oh, so go for it. Go for it.
I was going to say, I still have the notebook of that one specific thing that I didn't want to go through. Like I highlighted it, everything that, what was it? Everything that made sense when I did it, I highlighted it. Anything that created an emotion, I wrote it in red. So it's like, okay, this is how I felt in red. This is exactly
What it is.
a reaction of how I felt.
Yeah.
So I would do X because I felt this. And it's like, and I look at it now and I'm like, damn. I'm like,
And then isn't it crazy to see now what you wrote in red and like how much it's changed, for the most part? Because you're like, I don't really gotta be like that. Like, that's how I was with that. Dang. Okay.
You know how many coffees I had that day? It was a lot. Because I forced myself to finish all of that in one day.
Damn. Well, good for you for, first of all, even taking the initiative to do it. Second of all, doing it all in one day.
I was tired. I was tired after
I bet.
a lot of
It's
caffeine
draining. It's draining. Because you really have to, that's why I say you really have to sit with yourself and all the ugliest parts. And it's not that that defines you. It doesn't define you. It's led you to where you are now. And where it's led you are now, if you're sitting with that question, is a moment of reflection and discernment.
Yeah.
Thank God for that. Because most people don't get there. They don't even have the strength to get there. And with my friends, we've just hit, honestly, like, we've gone through a lot in my frame, but that's like a tip of the iceberg with what I've gone through. And people are like, dude, Jen, how are you still so like, hey? And I'm like, first of all, because shit wasn't not easy to be like this. Imagine, I always say, like, all these ping pong balls at the bottom of this empty ass cup. That was me. And I literally show my friends, and it's like, I've seen it before. And like, I just pour water, I'm pouring more water. And I'm like, that's all me putting the intention of myself. And all these little fucking ping pong balls are rising up to the surface, and people choke on it. However it comes, and like you started from the bottom of your feet upwards. That's how you start. You have to start from the root upwards, or else you're just going to be going back to the same thing.
Yeah.
So you don't start from below, and it gets uncomfortable, and you might just stay stuck at that healing level for a while, a couple days, a couple months, a couple years. Who knows? You take your time. Healing is not a linear thing, back and forth.
Right.
It gets uncomfortable. Most people don't do it. So like when I finally, obviously, am pouring everything out, the ping pong balls pour out, I'm like, that was me not choosing any of these vices, people, addictions, distractions. I kept going through and sitting with myself until I'm cool with sitting with myself. There's slim to no people out here that can say something that I haven't told myself and sat with and said, you know what? I still love you. I got you. We're good. We passed that moment. We're not there anymore. That's like a billboard on the side of the freeway. If we all stopped on the side of the freeway for every damn billboard that we thought or saw or felt about ourselves, we would never get to our destination. We would be on the side of the road a hell of a lot more than getting to the damn grocery store even to feed ourselves.
It's a lot of gas money.
Stuck on the side. Exactly. It takes what's that saying? It's cost you more. It costs more to stay on the train when you should have gone off at that exit.
Yeah. It's gonna cost more to get back.
And why? We're already tight, man. You don't want to do that. We're trying. We're ready to thrive. We're done surviving as people who actually give a damn about themselves and want more and better for themselves. I love Matthew McConaughey for life, and I love his book. I've heard his book like 3 or 4 different times, 4 times actually. Green light. Whenever you think you got a red light, it's a green light. It's never really stopping your path. The only one stopping your path is yourself.
Let me
We
tell
got
you,
yellow lights.
The police force loves that. Okay. They're probably loving that right now. They're like, look, Matthew McConaughey said I could go. They're like, all right, well, you're going to go with this ticket. Okay, so.
If you get caught.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, with these days in AI, who knows? It's not hard, but.
Jen, where can everybody find you? I think I have it down on the bottom, but the website and
Oh yeah,
Instagram or whatever it is.
web website, Instagram. I am slowly building TikTok,
Oh,
but
sweet. Oh, nice.
Instagram, yeah, doing TikTok as well. And then yeah, Instagram is my main thing right now, and my website also has my contact information directly too, whether it's either messaging me or direct DMing me on Instagram. But it's
Which
me,
is at Jennuine Wellness,
Jennuine
right?
Wellness. Yes,
Nice. Or
yes,
Jennuine dot wellness, right? Isn't that?
yes, Jennuine.wellness. Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry, I forget
so
the dot. I forget the dot.
JENNUINE.wellness, and then
Yeah.
genuinewellness.com, right?
Yes, sir. Jennuine-wellness.
Awesome.
I
Yeah, that's
know.
right.
The
There's a
host,
dash in
yeah.
there.
Yeah, the host had the period taken already. He's like, no. So dash it is.
Okay, that's all right. One of my sponsors for the other show is norse-hall.com. So
Oh no.
they do a hot sauce and they do a mead, like a honey mead. Yeah, they
What?
do a
That
mead.
sounds good. That sounds super good. I love honey stuff.
Yeah, he's based out of West Virginia. I went over there for vacation, and he showed me the entire property of where they're gonna do Viking weddings and everything. So
That is so freaking. My friends would love that. Like they do like the olden time Renaissance fairs, Viking times, all that.
I can see how
Love
that.
it.
Yeah. Well, Jen, I appreciate all of your time. We can
Thank
get into
you.
some conspiracy stuff in round 2 down the road.
So
I
down for
know.
that.
Yeah, I know you are. I know you would be. But I appreciate everything, guys. Go check out Jen Gonzalez, Jennuine
Yes.
Wellness, and go to genuine-wellness.com. Jen, thanks for all your time, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You guys have a wonderful evening. Have a good night.
Later.